The future of the garment manufacturing industry is tied to Bangladesh's fate as a nation. In 2010, 5 out of every 10 garments worldwide were made in China. Today, only to come from China, while 3 are made in Bangladesh. Approximately 90% of Bangladesh's exports are related to the garment industry. If its garment factories were to shut down, the country's 170 million people would be left with nothing but farmland. In August, after over a decade in power, Bangladesh's prime minister was ousted and fled to India. The country is now under the leadership of a caretaker government. Today, I want to discuss the competitiveness of Bangladesh's garment industry. Garment manufacturing is a tough industry, but since it's profitable, competition is inevitable. From a technical standpoint, Bangladesh faces two major threats: cheaper labor from Africa and automated production lines in the US and China. Bangladesh's per capita GDP is around $2,500, whereas African countries like Ethiopia and Tanzania have just surpassed $1,000. In terms of cheap labor, these nations seem more suitable for investment in factory construction. However, these countries are too poor, lacking basic educational resources, which hinders the development of long-term life planning and stable work habits. For example, Ethiopia's adult literacy rate is only 52%, and 80% of its workforce is self-employed, making a bit of money before quickly leaving for consumption. In a labor-intensive industry like textiles, such workers cannot provide reliable labor. Moreover, many African coastal countries may seem geographically suitable for developing export industries, but harsh tropical climates and rampant infectious diseases make it difficult. Most of the population is concentrated in cooler highlands, weakening coastal cities' ability to develop a competitive garment industry. Traveling around Africa, the landscape is either highlands or mountains. Ethiopia, for example, might appear to be close to a port, but 2/3 of the country is at an altitude of over 2,500 meters. Namibia has 1,600 kilometers of coastline, but less than 10% of the coastal area is flat plains, with the rest being highlands over 1,000 meters above sea level. The development of transportation and infrastructure is challenging, making it difficult for these countries to form large-scale garment manufacturing industries. Bangladesh is also a tropical country, but its entire land is a coastal alluvial plain, with no highlands for respite from the heat. The country's 170 million people have no choice but to endure life on these coastal plains, which inadvertently creates export competitiveness. Of course, Africa does have some flat, coastal nations with proximity to ports, such as Morocco and Egypt. These countries have developed their own handcraft manufacturing industries, but have only ever captured about 1% of the market. With favorable geography and proximity to Europe, why wouldn't their populations pursue more relaxed industries? Hence, both Morocco and Egypt quickly shifted industries, transitioning from handcrafts to tourism. Their per capita GDP has long since surpassed Bangladesh, reaching around $3,500 by the World Bank standard of $2.15 in daily income. The combined impoverished population of Morocco and Egypt is just 2 million, less than a quarter of Bangladesh. As a result, their garment export volumes have never increased, and countries like Ethiopia and Tanzania have never even entered the handcraft manufacturing market. In the foreseeable future, Africa is unlikely to disrupt Bangladesh's business. However, industries are often disrupted by external factors. The most significant challenge to Bangladesh's garment industry comes from advancements in artificial intelligence. In the future, it might not be Africa's cheap labor that takes away Bangladesh's livelihood, but rather the high-tech capabilities of China and the US. A company called Software Automation from both China and the US has developed an ultra-fast sewing robot, Subot. According to the China Daily, Subot's production cost for a t-shirt is estimated to be just 33 cents per unit, a price no cheap labor market can compete with. However, that report was from 2017. Even 7 years after Subot's debut, it has not changed the landscape of the garment industry. While AI is rapidly advancing in processing information, progress in dealing with complex tasks like working with flexible fabrics has been slow. Current automation attempts involve stiffening fabrics with starch so machines can handle them as if they were rigid materials. But this process is costly and not very effective. Thus, ever since the sewing machine was invented in the 1800s, the basic production process has remained unchanged. Sewing machines remain tools for human operators. The industry, which has remained stable for over 200 years, is unlikely to be disrupted overnight. More importantly, clothing styles change frequently and are highly complex, making it difficult to standardize and automate. Currently, machines can only produce the most basic items, like t-shirts. Fast fashion brands such as H&M release around 23,000 new designs annually, and Zara introduces 40,000. In total, about 1.5 million new designs hit the market every year. With trends changing rapidly, standardized machines cannot adapt their designs quickly enough, making them unable to replace flexible hand production, at least for now. The latest technology still cannot substitute for this ancient handcraft industry. Africa's workforce and advanced technology in developed countries won't steal business in the short term, so Bangladesh's garment industry is unlikely to be affected by recent political changes. It will continue to support the economy. However, if the people of Bangladesh become complacent, relying solely on their current industry position, they may eventually struggle to even maintain their current standard of living.